Welcome to the Walking Dead panel with Jeremy Palko and Mahoney, who play Olivia and Andy in Walking Dead. Welcome. How have you been today? How's the day been? Has it been good?
It's good. I'm still, time zone adjusting, but it's good. It's not too bad from the States.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll get started. But obviously, The Walking Dead started as a comic and it's been going since like 2010. What's it like to be part of one of the biggest shows on TV?
Bam!
From both of them.
It's very surreal. I mean, I remember when I landed in Heathrow in London, I got off and I literally just took a moment and kind of freaked out because I was like, I am visiting England, Birmingham. I was saying it terribly. But it made me realize that I'm only here because I'm on the show. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be on other shows, but I never got anywhere, geographically. So it's really cool to know that just being a small part in the show has allowed me to do the traveling I've done and the people I've met. So in that aspect, it's really cool because when you're on the show, when I stop talking, you can stop drinking. Because when we shoot the show, it's like we shoot in the backyard with our friends, and it doesn't feel like a major production. It really doesn't. It's when you leave set and you get to do things like this where you feel the impact it has.
And what's it like, I don't know, obviously, with it being a large set, because there's a massive cast with all the walkers and the original cast, what's it like working with so many people, or do you just do small parts at a time where you're not working with so many people?
I mean, I've had my share on this, like when I came on in season 6, I had very small, keep drinking, I had a very small crew, so I was with 5 or 6 actors, but episode 1 just came out of season 8, and we worked with like 50 different actors, so it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it's, you don't understand the impact of what you're doing. When I got cast, yeah, I'm kind of tall, okay. When I got cast, I was talking like them. Do you hear me? I've been listening to your beautiful accents. I've been here since Wednesday, and now I'm doing that annoying Madonna thing where suddenly I have an accent. All right, I'm gonna try to talk like I talk, because I love how you talk. It's actual English.
Well, do we have accents? Is that weird?
Do we have accents to you? Are they adorable?
No, they're not. They're so
Because
annoying.
your people, I'm telling the children, I'm taking them all with me. There will be no more children in England, because they're coming home with me to ask me, Mommy, can we have some jam on my skin? Yes, you can have whatever you want, including 900 puppies. But yeah, so working the show is awesome. And when you join the show, you get this email. Did you get the email? It was like, welcome to the Walking Dead family.
I did.
And you're like,
phone
that's
call.
so cute, right? But then you realize, no, this is a thing. It's a real thing. And you're permanently a part of it. So it's fantastic. I mean, I jumped on the end of season 5. It's like jumping on a running train. But yeah, I feel real blessed to have worked on it.
The other thing I was going to ask was, when obviously you're reading through scripts, you're going to come across spoilers. Is it hard to keep quiet about that?
Yes.
No, it's not. And here's why. Because you have to sign an NDA that will charge you $1 million for every instance that you give up of the plot that can be traced back to you. So no, it's not hard.
Yeah, I had a real scare this year. We were shooting episode 1, which just aired. I can say it now. But we were on set. We just celebrated the 100th episode.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I won't tell you that Glenn dies or Abraham dies or anything like that. So, if you're not caught up, what are you doing here? Sorry. But this season, we were shooting episode 100, and afterwards, Andy Lincoln and Greg Nicotero, we had this big, everyone was there on set, a lot of people, and they made a toast. And a cast member took a photo of myself and Andy Lincoln and decided to post it on his Twitter account. I got a little nervous because I got a call from my agent that day saying, "Why are you on TVGuide.com?" And I'm like, "What? Excuse me?" And said person took down the photo. When you have 1 million followers on Twitter, it kind of done the damage. I love you, Ann. I've done a few cons with Ann here and Mahoney, and I regretted I never got to work with her on set. So.
Same.
Yeah.
Please.
Actually, it's probably a damn good thing we didn't work together.
No, that'd be bad.
We'd have never gotten anything done.
Yeah.
So did you all meet on set, or have you known each other before you were filming?
No, we met each other through cons. Because he's Hilltop, which sucks, and I was Alexandria. So we have this whole thing. Yeah.
Hilltop for love.
Hilltop Alexandria rivalry.
And what's
So
it
you
like?
have plants, who cares?
We got chickens.
We got
and stuff.
solar panels.
Actually, who has not seen the last episode, the opening, season 8? So
So
everyone's
he's just
seen
gonna
it.
throw it up in my face because I'm already
He's like,
dead.
I don't care.
Just throw it up in my face because I'm already dead. Do it.
No, but Negan was up there and he said something funny. He said, all you Hilltoppers, go back and separate wheat and shit or whatever you do. And I'm watching that and I'm like, well, it's true, it's true. So that's what we do.
And do you have a good time behind the scenes? I mean, do you, obviously you all get on really well. Do you have
Oh,
a
too
good
much
laugh?
fun. Too much fun. It is the ultimate summer camp.
That's a good way.
It is summer camp because, I mean, when we shot the first episode, we hadn't seen each other for months and months other than cons, so we got on set. And, like, the green room was just too much fun. Yeah.
I mean, my experience is different from his because when I came on the show, I think Alexandria was the last, I'm throwing this up in your face. Alexandria was the last community where you really got to meet us just alone, right? And so when Hilltop came in, it was like a lot of other people, so it was a much smaller group when we were working on set, but still, it's just, you know, it's brutal, okay, because it's Atlanta. I'm from New Orleans, but so there's similar weather. It's humid, it's very hot, there are 12-hour plus days outside. So everybody better be pleasant because if they're not, it's hard enough just elements-wise, right? So everybody on that set, led by Andy Lincoln, who is
Cannot talk.
just tireless.
Yeah.
I've watched him run up a hill 25 times in an hour. And every time, even if the camera's not on him, he's still giving it everything. So, I mean, he sets a precedent among the actors that you're
It is
going to
his
bring
show.
in.
It is his and Greg's
You
show.
think about it, he's given his life to it, right? It's a lot of years for an actor to give up to a show, so I have great respect for that.
I was going to ask as well.
The whole time, by the way.
No,
So.
you were not.
I had to-
know where the level was.
I had to give up.
Alright.
I went to the pub last night with some friends in town, and I had one, and I was so jet lagged. I was so tired, and I found out that we were just weenies when it comes to drinking. Apparently, so
I'm not, I'm from New Orleans. He is a weenie.
I'm from
I'm
Seattle.
hardcore.
So Seattle, we have coffee and stuff.
Weenie, Hilltop.
When you were filming as well, I was going to ask with the walkers.
You're so delightful. We like say terrible things. You're like,
You're so
"Listen,
soft-spoken,
you
though."
know, That's like so sweet.
By the way, that was the most polite fire alarm I've ever heard in my life.
Please
It was like,
exit the building. I was like, do I need to? Is that please? You know, I have to tell you this. I went to this antique store in Stratford upon Avon, and it was me and like 12 95-year-olds. And I went back behind the counter because there was not a person standing there, right? In the U.S., if there's someone there, it's like, don't go here, right? So I went back behind the counter. The guy comes up and he goes, sorry, not behind you then. And I just looked at him and was like, he has the nicest voice. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be here. All right, let me just...
yeah, the fire alarm was almost like,
It's
please
so
leave
lovely.
the building, please.
Even the navigation system we have is like, please turn left at the second.
No, in America, it's like, wah, 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 get out.
And when you do a wrong turn, it's like, rerouting.
So it's been very
Anyway,
polite.
sorry, Eve.
It's fine, it's okay. I was just going to ask about the walkers. Being on set with them, they're quite sort of gruesome looking. They are absolutely, the makeup's absolutely amazing. Is there ever any point where you sort of look and
The
feel a little
walkers?
bit- yeah.
Oh man,
Do they
I have.
freak you out?
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I don't see any children. I tend to swear too much. The walkers. I have so much respect for those guys and girls. I mean, they go through first a grueling makeup process, anywhere between some of them who are way in the background of the shot, very little makeup, whatever. But anyone up front is like an hour to 4 hours in makeup.
And you will sit there next to them and they're terrified. Like, it's not.
I hope I never get that makeup because I hate it. But they stay in the sun all day and maybe every once in a while grab shade. Like, we're weenies.
Yeah.
They call cut, we run to shade. They come over like, you okay?
You're like, popsicle,
You okay?
umbrella.
You want some ice for your neck? And it's humbling because they love doing that. And it's humbling to have somebody do that for me. I'm like, I don't need that, I'm fine. I can go grab the water 10 feet away, I'm fine. They're like, no, I'll grab it. I'm like, okay, sure.
You know, when we shot the scene where all the walkers overrun Alexandria in season 6, so that was a very brutal shoot. It was overnight. A lot of
Wouldn't happen in
money.
Hilltop, you're saying?
So when we shot that scene overnight, after everybody started dying, so you cut and there'd be dead walkers, right? But there would have some bodies, some fake bodies, and some real people, like walkers who've been killed. And so you'd sit down to like just take a break, and then the walker would suddenly sit up, start eating a granola bar or something. Like, ah! Okay, not one of the bodies, real person. But so they do figure out. One of them sat next to me at lunch one time, and I couldn't eat. He was the one who was like mostly naked,
Yeah.
and I was like the one, and Alexandria was like wandering around. He sat next to me, he's like, I'm having a ham sandwich, what about you? I'm like, I'm eating nothing, you're terrifying.
You know what's so sad is like when they actually rip people apart in the show, they use ham and pork and beef, and it looks disgusting, but like I'm still like, I'm kind of hungry, I want some pork now, so.
He's already forgotten we swap beers.
No, I didn't forget. Your next round's on you.
Is there any point where you would rather be in their shoes? Would you, for one day,
The
want to be a
walkers?
walker?
No, never. Like I said, I commend those guys and gals, and if you just watched the last episode, we storm the sanctuary, Negan's compound, and there's walkers chained to the fence. They were there all day, literally chained to the fence. It wasn't like they could just rip off the Velcro of some sort. No, it was around their waist chain.
And that's early in the season, so they're shooting in May in what we call hot Atlanta. Okay? Hot Atlanta. Yeah.
I recently rewatched the scene actually where you got shot. Just wanted to refresh myself. How did you feel doing that scene? Were you happy about it?
Yeah, okay, so it's definitely a death, right? And it's not just a death in the obvious sense, like Olivia died, but it's something that I don't know how other actors work. I'm sure you work like this because he's a very good actor, but I'm very meticulous in my homework. I'm a theater trained actress. I didn't get into film on purpose. It happened to me. So I always do a great deal of homework and character work on things. I know the details, but I can tell you where all her jewelry came from. And that's not to brag, it's just to say that I'm meticulous in my work. So when a character dies, it's like a death to me. It's a person that I've given a lot of thought to. And no matter how much she might be like, well, she just stood there in the background in that scene, I have a whole agenda going on about why I'm there, right? So, because as a theater actor, you never just stand on the stage, right? Otherwise you disappear. So, or you stand out in a bad way. So, yeah, it was sad. I was sad about it. I thought she was a good person. I thought she was one of the purest people we've ever had in the show. Her intentions were always very pure. Don't say it. I'm pure. Damn it.
I was going to say you got the bitch slap
Pure
Negan.
as the driven snow.
You got the bitch slap Negan,
I did.
so that was cool.
Yeah. So yeah,
As a child
I
just
loved
walked
her.
in, I'm swearing, so.
I loved her honesty, right? I love her honesty. So I miss her, for sure. I don't miss her hairstyle.
And then I see Freddie at the door over there.
Hi, Freddie!
They have to have a costume contest now, so, yeah. Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you.
What was your favourite scene, both of you, to film?
All the ones I'm in.
When I'm working and making money.
Yeah. Well, actually, I remember when I first got the script, and I had the scene where half the scene is just my hand. Like, I'm speaking about the plan we're about to do, and I'm writing, and I didn't realize how difficult it was to draw and speak at the same time. What?
I'm just looking at your nails. Were you like, ew, gross?
No, but the camera was here, so I had to lean and draw, but act at the same time with all, and that was my first time with like Norman and Steven and Andy Lincoln and Danyl and Tom, and everybody was in there, so I was a little nervous doing that. But my favorite scene was when we just shot for episode 1. It was when Rick and King Ezekiel and Maggie are giving their speech, and I didn't say a word, but I'm surrounded by the entire cast. I mean, you had Seth the priest, you had Tom, you had Jerry, all the actors, and I literally was just out of character the entire time, just going, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I just watching Andrew Lincoln work, amazing. I remember halfway through one of his speeches, he just stopped and started screaming at himself. He's like, we're going to war, come on, get it together. And he redid the speech, and you could tell it was just so different in his mind. But just getting to pick people's brains and watch people work was the most...
Welcome!
You're late. I'll start the story over again. So.
I drank half his beer.
Yeah.
Just catching you up.
You're all caught up. But watching people work on the show was just as rewarding as getting to learn lines and play around with the scenes, I thought so.
Definitely slapping Jeffrey D. Morgan was my favorite because honestly, I'll tell you this quickly. I'm gonna try. Scott Gimble, when he called me to tell me they were offing Olivia, it was about 6 weeks before her death. And oh no, I'm sorry, wrong story. He called me early in the season before we shot episode 4 of season 7, and he said, "Hey, look, I meant to get to you before you read the script, but I want to tell you that we don't like that he calls you the fat lady." Right? He says, "We all think you're so beautiful," and I hate that line, but Negan's an asshole, and so he would say that, right? And that's what he would say. And I was like, "Scott, please, give me a break. I'm like a size 14 woman in America. I've dealt with this my whole life, and I think I'm gorgeous." So, but I said, "You can make it up to me by making sure we do that scene from the comic book where she slaps the shit out of Negan." And he was like, "Well, I don't know if we're gonna have time for that, you know." So when that showed up, when I got that script, I screamed. I was so happy that, because it's a real iconic moment for her in the comic book. So it was something I wanted to do from the moment I knew I was playing her.
And I loved his line afterwards. He's like, "I am 50% more attracted to you right now." Like, "Get it, girl."
But he liked me from the beginning in the garage scene. When I turned around, he watched my ass walking away while he made fun of my weight. Boys like booty. Boys like booty, am I right?
Hi, kids.
Okay, I know we're in England, but boys like booty, am I right? Yeah! Please show me your booty. Please take the second exit off.
No, it's an Abbott Costello skit.
Look at her, she's like,
Entertaining.
Calm, Eve, I love
It's
it.
all good fun. What are you both doing with yourselves now? I know I've had a look and you recently did Sun Records where you played Elvis Presley's mom. I haven't watched that yet, but that was something that I'd be interested in looking at. What was that like to film?
Well, I never played I played historical characters on stage, but never on screen. So I feel great responsibility when I play a historical character to be authentic to who she was with as much as I can find out about who she was, because Gladys was not a person who wanted the spotlight. She wanted it for her son. And even she didn't really want it for her son. But anyway, I enjoyed her tremendously. I hope you guys will look for it and watch that first season. CMT did it. The director of all 8 episodes, thank you, whoever saw it, was directed by Roland Joffe, who's an English director. And he directed one of my favorite movies of all time, The Mission. So when I saw he was attached to this, I really wanted to do it. Not that I'm that kind of actor who already can just be like, "I want to be in this if you will put me in this." That's not how it works. But and he was tremendous to work with. So yeah, that was an amazing experience.
And what about yourself, Jeremy? What are you doing now?
I mean, right now I'm on hold for the show, so they gotta shoot everything else. So I'm really blessed to be doing these cons, which I absolutely love doing. So I'll be here. I'm flying straight from here to Seattle next week, and then I'm going to Rhode Island for a con. I did a really small part in Pitch Perfect 3, which comes out. I get beat up. Spoiler, but no, I don't sing. I want people to see the movie, so. No, I'm auditioning like every other actor in the southeast of the United States, so I've read for a couple shows. Things I can't really talk about, because not that I can't talk about it, but like it's a personal thing. I don't want to jinx myself and say, "Oh yeah, they're looking at me for this." No, until it happens, it hasn't happened. You know, you wait until you get the call and you actually go up and shoot, and then even then you're hoping you don't get cut from a film. So a couple things in the works, but just try and audition like everyone else. Now I'm confused. Is that mine or yours?
This is mine.
Okay.
This is Les.
And
And right now in theaters, I don't know if it's here yet. It just opened last week in the States. It's a movie called Same Kind of Different as Me with Renee Zellweger and Greg Kinnear, and I play a meth-addicted prostitute in it. Yes, indeed. With a redemption story. And if you saw Logan Lucky, it's the Sondheim film, I'm in that. So, and I have a show that I'm gathering my funding for that I wrote, a television show, and I assume you'll all tune into that. It's a faith-based comedy. It's about God, but not the awful one who judges everyone. It's called Preaching to the Choir, and it's actually very funny. So I hope when that comes out, you'll all watch it.
And lastly, I just sort of want to find out, what do you do to relax other than hobgoblin?
cheers. Hobgoblin.
What, obviously you work hard, constantly on the go, so what do
I
you
like
do
being, I like moving, like I don't like sitting, like as much fun as it to get home and just relax for a day.
I'm listening to you. I'm
I thought you were
listening.
like staring me down. I hate being bored, and so I go to the movies a lot. I like being outside. I'm moving to Georgia, and I love hiking. Yeah, I'm moving in
Do you
January,
think Rick talks to me?
and I love hiking. I love river rafting, so I can't wait to get back to that. But yeah, spend time with my family as much as I can. So that's about it.
I have 2 little kids, 9 and 4, so that keeps me pretty busy. As a side thing, I paint. I'm a painter and I write, and I sew clothes for my 4-year-old daughter.
If there's anybody in the audience that's got questions, put your hand up and I'll send someone over to take the questions.
Just yell it.
I'll just yell it.
Now, I know I talked to you a bunch at the table, and you said you would have questions, and I'm not hearing the questions. Please give us your questions for Jeremy and Anne, and take the second exit off the roundabout.
Anybody got any questions they want to ask while they're here?
Yeah, first keep sticking to the storylines and the graphic novels, or are they going to actually divert from that?
Are they sticking to the graphic novel, or are they going to divert from that? That is a question that no actor on the show will ever be able to answer because they keep it. Never mind, she'll answer for him.
I wouldn't be dead already if they hadn't deviated from the graphic novel.
And I would be dead, so I'm happy. Yeah, I remember when I got cast, I immediately looked up who Andy was from The Hilltop, and it was like he got mentioned. It was like, oh no, Andy died from, Negan killed him or something like that. And I was like, well, this is gonna be a really short shoot. So I got up there and I had, a couple scenes and 2 episodes, and they didn't kill me off. And I was back for season 7 for a smidge, and now I'm back in season 8. So stay away from the comics. I'm happy. So. But it is fun to hear the fans' perspective when it comes to that. I've never really got into the novel or the graphic novels as much. There you go. You must talk.
I read the novel first before I saw the show. Yeah, head in a pike instead of shot in the face. Much later.
Anybody else?
I just repeat the question. So.
It comes across like everyone in The Walking Dead, they always call it a family, and when you are all together, you say you have a lot of fun, but is it really like family? Are you all together for each other, and do you have each other's backs? And when you leave the show, do you still keep in contact and stay in touch with people?
I mean, I would say it's as genuine as you see or you hear about. Like, I can't tell you how friendly everybody is on set. No, I don't call Norman Reedus every 5 minutes, like, hey buddy, how's it going, man? You probably don't even remember who I am, but.
Did you wash your hair yet? No? Good.
Yeah, right? But when we do see each other, it's like this instant, I really didn't work on season 7. I was on an episode, but I remember coming back and I saw Norman walking by and I just kind of walked by him, and he came over and gave me the biggest hug, and it is a family. It is absolutely a family. And outside of it at the cons, you'll see that they're all close knit and we're all talking and stuff. But yeah, people always ask me, who's the meanest on the show? I'm like, there is nobody.
If you weren't acting now, what career do you think you'd be in?
Ladies first.
I'd be dead if I wasn't acting now. And I'm not being cheeky. It was a thing in my life that I started on stage when I was 4 years old in ballet. And I was a ballerina until about 16. At 10, I did my first play. And I was on speech and debate in high school. Yes, laugh, please. National competitor, all 5 years. So it was my family. I was kind of a weirdo. I was odd. So I found a family in theater, and specifically in theater, I'm more of a theater person than a film person. And then I went to college and graduate school for acting. So my first influence was my high school speech and debate coach and the guy we did play practice with, Morris Bach, who's actually buried not far from where I live now. I still go visit him. And then I went to undergraduate school and studied Stanislavski, Meisner, if you know anything about acting, all the Western techniques. And my master's was in the Suzuki method of actor training. It's a Japanese technique. I have a strong love of what I do. And it gave me a great deal of confidence that I don't know that I would have had otherwise. So, did I answer the question? How do my main influences me actors that I love? Emma Thompson, Helena Bonham Carter's Ophelia in Hamlet is the penultimate Ophelia ever done, ever, till the end of time, ever. Yeah, I have a strong love of, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here, of British actors. I have great respect for them. So yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry, no. Influences. What I wanted to do in my life, there's so many things I wanted to be growing up. Like I wanted to be like a professional, like football player, baseball player. More baseball than anything because I love that. But I was like your typical jock story. Like I blew out my knee my senior year. I lost scholarships, whatever, went on to college.
This is cool, I didn't know that.
You know, well, I blew out my left knee playing football. I had a scholarship to like Arizona State or something like that. Went on to college and I tried to play lacrosse because I'm like, I just like hitting people, it's fun. But I was terrible at it.
Hockey.
Shit, we don't have ice in Washington, but blew out my other knee, and this is why I truly believe things happen for a reason, because I took my first acting class, even though film had always inspired me. Like, I wanted to be Indiana Jones since I was a kid. Steven Spielberg, everything he does. I love this new documentary on HBO, by the way. Like, he really inspired me, but I never thought I could do this for a living. I was just like, that's something I could never do. I wanted to be a director. As soon as I blew up my other knee, I took my first acting class. And I just remember I'm sitting there, and it was like one of those drills. You had to I had to convince someone to do something for me. And I was like, please give me that box, please give me that box. And they're like, there's no motive, like he's not gonna give it to you. And finally I just start screaming, I'm swearing. Like, I'm gonna do this to this, and I start swearing in front of everyone. And he's like, all right, I feel it. There you go. And I was like, I can do that? And he's like, yeah, you absolutely can. And that's when I realized it was such a creative outlet. Like, I would advise anyone to take an acting class because it really takes your bubble and just pops it. Like, you will find out more about yourself taking an acting class than you will anything else. Because, you're uncomfortable thinking about it. I know it, but once you do it, it's fine. But then I started pursuing it, more and more auditions, commercials, and then I realized, you know what, I could probably do something with this. Influences were obviously like Harrison Ford, like he was like, Indiana Jones, but the more I've grown up, the more I've really looked to the character actors I love, like Giovanni Ribisi is one of my favorites, Ben Foster, Philip Seymour Hoffman, I just loved all those actors that could be something totally different. John C. McGinley, all those guys. Tom Hardy, I think, is fantastic, and he's so peculiar with his work. Did I answer the question? I don't know, I'm just rambling. So. A lot of influence, but they change constantly. Like, I see people's works, and like Michael Fassbender is kind of like my new guy right now. I want to see The Snowman, that looks really cool. But I think with this, you can...
Something is very funny out there.
Not as cool as what's going on here, shut up. I saw Anthony Hopkins speak, and by I saw it on YouTube somewhere. He said something like, someone asked him, do you continue to take classes? He's like, yeah. And they're like, why? And he's like, because the second I think I know everything is the second I should just stop acting. And I always found that to be fun and true, and people are like, oh, how's it feel to have made it in life? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I still got to audition next week for something that I probably won't get. This is just a fun good job. You're on the right path, buddy. Good job.
Any more questions? I've got one then.
Yes.
So, take away your acting resumes. What are your greatest achievements in life?
Ooh. How's Game of Thrones, by the way? You're great in that, by the way. I'm just jealous because I can't grow a beard to save my life.
Some people just don't get that second puberty.
Yeah, I know.
Even though he's the one who told us we have a terrible taste in beer. But it's okay, I forgive you.
Greatest achievement in life.
I forgive you.
I would say, I was always on my own. I never had to rely on anybody. My parents were always there for me, always there for me. I had friends that lived with their parents until they were 30. The day I turned 18, I went to college. My mom calls me a tumbleweed. I just go where the wind takes me. I went across the country on my own, started working for the Disney cruise ships. And I was entertaining. I was dancing on like a pirate, like an idiot. But I always went, what was that? No, but graduating college and just making it on my own. I never needed assistance. Like, although my parents would always be there for me, I never asked for anything. I've worked for everything I've gotten. Yeah, just taking risks when people like play it safe. I'm looking at you like you asked the question, Eve, but he ran.
That's fine.
He didn't even want the answers.
I'd say in my theater life, I played Hamlet, and that was when I was getting my master's, and that was a trip, because you're screwed when you play Hamlet if you're a male, because everybody has their favorite Hamlet. You're doubly screwed if you're a woman playing Hamlet. I was cast that way, I didn't cast myself. So I'd say that, I don't know if I was very good, but I certainly learned a lot. Second biggest challenge that I'm proud of, I played Charity in Sweet Charity the musical, and I'm a dancer, but at ballet, and Fosse dancing is quite the opposite, so trying to master that. And lastly, I'm just proud that I've stuck it out in a profession that frowns on women being oversized too. So that's actually the biggest thing I'm proud of, is sticking it out in a profession that's not been very supportive of me in many ways.
I love you so much, Anne, and I support you, but you missed the question completely.
Did I? What was the question?
He said other than acting, what is your greatest moment?
Other than acting, what was the question?
Moment, because you were awesome, but outside of acting.
I'm actually really hard of hearing. I'm not kidding, it's not a joke. I'm hard of hearing, so I don't hear things quite right, especially if there's an accent involved. So what was the question?
He said other than acting, what is your proudest achievement?
There's nothing else.
And then you were like playing Hamlet and this and that, all acting. I'm like,
I wonder why you were answering the question that way.
do I call her out
I
on
was
this?
like, my family is amazing. I'm like, what are you talking about? You've done so much acting.
Well, he asked the question, then he ran out of the room. So.
Because he knows we're mad at him about making fun of us about our beer choice. This is excellent. The Hobgoblin Legendary Ruby Beer. Look at that silence!
They're like, no, that's a Coors Light in America.
Stupid Americans.
We're running out of time now, so if anyone's got a quick question before we finish up. Anybody else?
Rob, what's up, man?
It's Redbeard.
Greg Nicotero likes to put some like Easter eggs in the episodes, like things like gone completely blank now.
Yeah, I've seen some of the documentaries, but yeah, he does.
So like the zombie head, the walker heads, when you guys are trying to get a replica for Gregory,
yeah.
Like there's a rumor that one of them is like based on Johnny Depp.
The one on the right was Johnny Depp. The one we used was actually Greg Nicotero's sculpted head, so that's the one I'm holding.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I want to say was George Romero.
Oh, right.
Like they used all three iconic characters, which was kind of cool. And then somebody sent me this article one day, it was like, you worked with Johnny Depp? And I'm like, huh? And they're like, the head in the scene you hold, it's like one of them was Johnny Depp. And I was like, well, technically, yeah, I worked with Johnny Depp, so.
So that was like the kind of like follow-up questions. Do you guys kind of know that he's doing that stuff, or do you hear about it after or when the episode's aired?
I mean, for that one, I didn't really know on set. I knew that was Greg's head because I had to hold it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which was harder than it looked, because that thing was legit. It weighed like 10, 11 pounds, and so when you hold that out for, half an hour break, it was rough.
Olivia was sheltered in many ways, so I didn't have to experience any of those things. I think it was kind of lovely.
Do you guys watch the episodes? Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And now I have like no intel either, so I'm in your shoes. I'm like, why are they doing this? Just shoot him! Shoot him! So yeah, now I'm in your shoes. I have no inside information, so.
Yeah, they're pretty secretive on set. Very secretive, so they don't tell everybody everything.
No, we only get the pages we're on. We don't get the whole script.
I've never gotten a full script.
I have to be like, did someone die that I'm upset about? Is there a person in a previous episode who died that I'm upset about right here? Oh, good. Because that's important to what I'm doing.
That's important. I remember when I was shooting the scene before, the next script had come out and all the major characters, like Stephen Young, who played Glenn, got the script and he came up to me, he's like, dude, next episode, that's really cool, man. What? I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I don't get a full script. And he's just like, dude, you have a really cool scene. And I was So for like the next week,
Can I have it?
yeah, for the next week, I'm just so excited. Like I have no idea what to expect, and it was the head holding at the Savior compound. So.
Well, unfortunately, I think we've run out of time now, so I just want to say thank you to everybody sitting here and listening to these lovely people talk about Walking Dead.
Thank you for dealing with it.